Welcome back to the Chill Sounds and Breakdowns podcast. We are on episode 136, hosted out of the Rail, our new home here in Fort Worth. Check out their website for events and like shows and a bunch of shit going on, all right? But I got a good one today because I got almost the rest of this band that I had once before. And I am excited for this follow-up because I remember what I want to talk about is something they were talking about when they were here last, but I'm going to get straight to it. So we have somebody else in here, the other half of somebody else.
Yes, sir.
How are y'all, first of all?
Doing good.
Doing pretty good.
What about you, man?
I'm doing well, man. I'm doing really good. Like I said, we're in a new spot. Last time we had the guys over at like the house venue, and now we're actually at a venue. So it's kind of nice. We're leveling up. Just like kind of you guys are doing some cooler shit. But
thank you.
Yeah, I'm gonna get straight to this album talk, man. Because first of all, it's really fucking good. Like it is really fucking good. But
Thank you so much.
It's what I was anticipating. Like just being good. As far as like what I expected, it just kind of like blew whatever like not what is it? It's not standards or whatever, but whatever I was expectations. There you go. Yeah, it's definitely not. It was way better than what I could have thought of. But this process again, like this thought process started a couple years ago now. How does that develop? Like how do you start kick it off there?
So I guess we've been writing like this music ever since we released that EP, we like slowly just started working on singles, and it was like similar to like the same process we had that first time, but like the time that we had recording it and going into LA, working like even more with JoJo with writing these songs, we had a lot more time and to put intention into like what we were doing in these songs and like I don't know, just the sound of it overall.
Yeah. It seemed when I talked to the guys last, like that EP was very much like trying a bunch of different like styles of stuff. Like people taking like independently, like writing almost like whole songs entirely together. So you definitely see that. The album definitely seems like it encapsulates a lot of those things and puts them together like really cool. Like the album starts off like very like heavy and like almost like a hardcore like type song, and then like which I know like the band is like a fan of like the hardcore scene, and then goes into like something more expected like out of that song, but it definitely does combine those. Was it an easier time combining all like everybody's like strengths and like I guess styles in this album?
Yeah, I feel like it's weird because we all listen to like very different types of music and stuff, and somehow like we're just able to like blend everything together like really well, from like take everything that one person likes or another person likes, and we're able to like just combine it all.
Is there any like how are like the arguments like with
honestly
creating?
There's really not too many arguments.
Okay.
It kind of came naturally, especially like writing these like we kind of all like wrote parts that like just reflected the song well, and like they were inspired by like our own like stuff that we listened to, but I think it came together well. Like each of our influences kind of molded well together.
Okay.
But that goes with feedback, like telling each other what we do and don't like in the studio. But having that time that we had there, like definitely helped carve our sound out.
Yo, what's going on, guys? It's OC, your host for the Chill Sounds and Breakdowns podcast. And I know what you're saying. Another ad on this podcast. Yes, but this one, you can help support the podcast. You might be seeing these beautiful Chill Sounds and Breakdowns podcast hats here on the table, where they're not just for decoration. We're selling these hoes, okay? This podcast, I don't get paid for this, so I need some money. Let's try to do that again. Less desperate. These hats look very cool, and it would be very cool of you to buy one to put on your head and look even more cool than you already do, all right? If you want to tell people that you have impeccable taste, that you listen to all types of music, and you listen to the best podcast in the entire world or tri-state area, or maybe just this area here, this is the best podcast in this room probably, then you should get one of these hats so that you can help support a local business and a local podcast, and so you can help support artists to come here and talk shit. Okay, that's the whole point of this. But yes, go to NoiseROT.com to pick out your Chill Sounds and Breakdowns hat or other merch. We got stickers, we got pins. Pick something up, and thank you for supporting the podcast. Okay, so I know the album was like recorded in LA with JoJo, which I do want to get to that. But how how much of it are you walking into the studio with?
I think there's probably like maybe I want to say like 8 or 9 songs that were finished that we kind of presented to JoJo, and then like there's probably like 4 or so that I know of because I know they write a lot.
Yeah.
But like there's probably like 4 or 5 that I know of that didn't make it on the album.
Yeah.
And then there's some that we like made there like in the studio with them.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah, we were able to write a lot there, which was sick. But yeah, we did end up scrapping a few like of our riffs or just like ideas that we had. Like, but we didn't want to be scared to like, I don't know, try new things because like obviously that first EP was like throwing things at the wall, seeing what stuck. But like we had more time to like see what actually we want to throw, you know?
Yeah. I mean, that is a bit maybe not intimidating is not the right word, but like I feel like it might be a little discouraging, like having to scrap that many songs like that you're bringing into it, where you're like, you know, I like this might be something. Then realizing there with not only your whole band but also like the person you're working with, and being like, okay, maybe this one isn't gonna like be part of like this record. Or was there any of that, or was there any like tension with like, oh, like I really don't want to like give this up, or like a fight back and forth?
I mean, I don't think there was like tension per se. Like we did, like some of us thought that maybe a song should stay, but I think in the end we were all like really happy with the way that the album came out. And like I think like any other song that would have stayed would have, like, I don't know. I just like the album how it is now. I don't think it would have been what it is with those songs, like without those songs cut out and without the new ones in.
Okay, so like looking at it now, you're like, okay, it wouldn't have added or done anything for the album. That's cool. It's really like a good way to come out of that, rather than the opposite of just like, oh, like I wish this would have been up. But I think coming out of something like that, and then realizing like, okay, the outcome of what we made, like I actually enjoy it. I love it. Like is a big part of like being a musician and just in a band, like liking the simple fact of like liking the shit that you're like putting out is so simple, but it's so crucial. And a lot of bands like put out stuff and I'm like, oh, you know, I kind of don't like it. Like as soon as they write it or whatever.
Yeah.
It's like,
no, it's crazy to me because like with the EP and everything, I was like, oh, I've heard these songs so many times and stuff. So by the time people got to hear it, I'd already heard it so much. I was like, oh yeah, it's like cool or whatever. But whenever we made this album, like I actually genuinely like would listen to the songs all the time before they would get released. And I'm like, wow, I'm like so proud of this.
Yeah. No, that's super cool. Like that's something I feel like every musician should have, like that sort of feeling towards their own like art, their own music. It's like, oh, like this shit is good, because that way, again, it's easier for you to show that off, to play it on stage, to be like, oh, like this song is really fucking good, instead of like, I remember like when I played in a band, there were some songs where I'm like, that's kind of like a maybe. And then like when people ask me about them, like I treat them as such, even though they're like, dude, I really love this song, and I'd be like, you know, it's all right, you know. But it's also realizing like, oh, I'm ruining that moment or that song for that person, you know. And I'd rather just be hyped on the stuff that I'm putting out. Like, why not just work towards writing shit that I actually like? But yeah, this album was written. You guys took a trip to California. Was this just done all on one trip?
Yeah. We all crammed into one car, in Trent's car, and took a 20-hour drive.
Oh, y'all drove there? Okay.
Yeah, it was like probably 14 or however long it takes to get to New Mexico. We had an Airbnb in New Mexico. Then the next day we drove like 8 hours to LA. And we stayed at Airbnb there, which was like a crazy thing in LA. So
I mean, it's a big, this is for some, I actually don't know, like, is it somebody else, your first bands or first musical projects?
Yeah, it's my first ever band I've ever been in.
Really? Okay.
And then, so they mentioned it in like the first episode of the podcast, I think, but they stole me from another band. I played bass in this band with my like childhood best friends, and we started this band in like middle school, and it was fun, but like it wasn't going anywhere. And my brother played in it too. He played guitar, but he had quit at the time. But it's cool now because that's like my same friends that played in that band is writing music, like writing folk music, and now I'm producing it and playing bass for it.
That's fucking sick.
So
okay. So still
cool.
friends. It's good. Like,
Yeah,
after being
yeah,
stolen
it's
away.
Still a project, so it's cool now.
Okay, that's
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah.
But yeah, going like so. This is still like a very like early project into like your like musical careers, but taking that leap to like we're going out there to record.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
again with JoJo, who was like around town, and it was maybe a little bit not easier, but more accessible at least to record with him here, and
Yeah.
then him moving out there and being like, you know, we're. I think last time they were mentioning like this was going to be one of like maybe the last like projects done for like bands out here necessarily.
Yeah.
Which is, I mean, I would have jumped in the car too and like gone and worked with them. But
I thought it was so worth it. Like,
I-
dude, JoJo is an amazing producer. Like,
Everyone,
I see him.
yeah.
I see him like also as like a friend and like a mentor in a way. Also,
that's cool.
just to like kind of learn from him.
Yeah, the trip was just a ton of fun too. Like just having that time out there, and like I got to skip school for like almost a month. Like
I was literally gonna ask, how long were you out there?
yeah, so we were there for like 21 days, I think.
Wow.
Like 3 weeks.
Yeah, like 3 weeks about. Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
sick.
Yeah. But yeah, I was still in high school at the time. I was in my senior year.
I
so,
remember. Yeah,
I had
remember
to
saying
like
that.
I had to what's it called? Trying to think of the word for it. Like persuade my my teachers and like principal to let me do this.
Yeah.
And they're like, yeah, we won't like file truancy on you. We'll give you these days off because I don't know. They liked me. It was cool.
Yeah,
I'm glad it
that's
worked out.
really
But
fucking cool.
Dude,
Yeah.
I remember whenever we were planning the whole trip out, we kept having to ask Owen like, "Yo, like, are you gonna be able to like make the trip and everything? Because we need you there to
Yeah.
record." And he was like, "I don't know. I have to keep asking my principal. They haven't like
And
given
that
me a
would,
confirmation."
I'm glad you got to do it because that would have
Yeah.
sucked. You know what I mean? Like if everyone else is
Yeah.
going out there and you're just like,
Yeah.
because I feel like it's one thing recording again, the opportunity to record with somebody that you know does amazing work, but also like that band bonding experience, like 3 weeks together, like
Yeah.
recording an album out there with your entire band, like is got to be like just an irreplaceable, like you know what is it, core memory or whatever, or even just
Yeah.
but it probably
It
makes the
is,
band
yeah.
like stronger. Like you realize like you know okay,
Oh, yeah,
I like
definitely.
hanging out with these guys and like I like writing music with it. Yeah, band chemistry is like the basis for like making it or doing something
Yeah.
with your band. Like you got to like the people you're in a band with.
It's definitely helped in that sense.
Yeah.
It was a blast. Yeah.
That's really cool. So have you guys worked with like producers before with like writing music, like where they put a hand into your music?
Yeah, we've demoed out a song with another producer, but I don't know. We didn't really like the sound as much. This was like in between. I think like after we did the first EP, but we were just doing it to like try out a different sound, and
Okay.
like he was offering to demo out a song for us, but it turned out cool. But like we're way happier with the product we got with JoJo, and like I'm so glad we went back again in that like. But yeah, like.
Yeah.
We're open to like trying out other options, and like Trent's been producing music for a while now, and we're thinking about like self-producing, especially
Okay.
since like I also have some production experience.
Yeah.
But we're still like thinking about that. Nothing's like set right now.
Yeah.
I mean, the album just came out. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, you do kind of have to be thinking like, okay, what are we doing
Yeah, like 2
next
steps
from
ahead,
now?
yeah.
Yeah. What are albums out? I'm assuming from what like I've seen and heard that the reception's been great. But what if y'all have?
Oh, yeah.
What have y'all heard?
I have heard nothing bad so far. But I don't know. Personally, I have no like least favorite song off of that album, and my favorite song is constantly changing.
That's
Like,
cool.
Yeah.
That's a good sign.
Yeah.
Like you find something,
Yeah.
a new favorite every time out of the
Yeah.
same album. That's super sick.
Yeah.
Man, I've since hearing y'all's band, again that EP and those first few songs, there was just this immediate like, I don't know, acknowledgement of like these kids are good. Like I take that back. Like, 'cause at the time I didn't know how old y'all were, how young y'all were. But I'm like, fuck, these are really solid ass fucking songs. And then in talking, like the first time I talked to like Blaze and like Trent, I'm just like, oh, like they're very like, there's a huge like music knowledge, and I always admire that because I feel like I got it way later, like in my life, like where I like was hyper obsessing over like different bands and like being able to tell like what I liked and stuff like that. I kind of just like was passively listening to music until like maybe like my mid-20s or whatever, when I was like, oh, like this is the shit that I like. Okay, let me pay attention to this like a lot more. But yeah, just seeing that off the jump and seeing this follow-up and it being like the most like out of the park like follow-up to like what y'all were doing, it's just really cool to see. What do you guys feel, where do you guys feel like the band is like right now? Like how do you feel in the band?
I kind of just feel in a sense of like ready to go out, start playing shows and doing stuff, and I think that's like kind of the plan. Like just start playing this music live, getting it out, start like DIY touring.
Okay.
Yeah, because we recently started playing like out of city shows and stuff. Like we started going to Austin. We played there twice.
Oh really?
Yeah.
With the band playing out there?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is it just Texas so far?
Yeah, so far. So I don't know exactly when we're gonna start touring, but I really want to start touring. So our plan is to do like, like state, like get good at like playing shows in the state, and then move on to like region, and then like start maybe going around like the U.S.
like slowly branching out.
Yeah. No, I mean, the good thing about Texas is that it's so fucking big.
Yeah.
So like there's
that's
enough
why people here.
Yeah, that's why the Texas run is like such a like common thing where it's like, oh, you are playing different markets and just like in the same state. It's one road trip, one whatever weekenders and stuff like that, where you get to play different cities and play to different people and different like again scenes. The Texas run is just fucking solid for that and building like a foundation, but also like how are you guys experiencing like trying to branch out to people outside of what I guess would say like your market or your area or your scene?
I guess for me it's just like social media content. Like I've been trying to post more like bass playthrough videos and stuff like that, and also just getting better at my instrument and like advertising that, because I don't know, I take that very seriously, but I also use it as a way to like promote the band.
So that's okay. Yeah, because you have other projects like other than this band, so like you're definitely like stayed busy.
Yeah, for sure.
So you said you also, how long have you been producing?
Well, I've been producing since I was in like middle school, like 6th grade, just because like when we had that band, I was the one to like demo everything out.
Okay.
But like I started taking it serious like at the beginning of high school. So I'd say like 4 years, but I'm completely self-taught. Like, I just learned on my own, watching YouTube videos, and like seeing JoJo's work has helped a ton.
That's cool because you get kind of two mentorships, not only like in your your music writing, but also like in the production aspect. And again, both of those things are something that JoJo just does like
watching
super
him
well.
See what he does is crazy. It's really cool. He's
awesome.
like a wizard.
That's literally what I've heard. Like I've only like ever like talked to him kind of in passing. I've never actually like hung out or been able to spend, but everyone who I know has gone to him like comes out with the same story, and it's the same kind of like aspect. It's like, oh no, this guy like is a genius. Like he's like a wizard. I've heard like that same term, which is super cool to see. But damn, like did California have any like interesting moments? I remember seeing like all the little like random ass updates and things like that through it, but I don't know if you guys had anything crazy happen out there.
Just a lot of video games.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can say there's some crazy moments for me. Like,
I mean, you look like you're like they're crazy,
dude,
but I'm not
like
gonna talk about
one
it.
like crazy story that it was so bro. So while we were there.
No, you should not talk about this.
I shouldn't?
Nah.
Okay.
All right.
We're skipping this Disney story.
Yeah, let's skip
Dylan.
that.
Cool. I'll hear about it. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, we'll tell you after.
Okay. Yeah, that's an off the podcast moment.
See, that's what makes the band grow strong. You know, that bond grows stronger. It's those moments where you're like, oh, this crazy shit. We got to take this one to the grave.
Yeah, honestly, yeah, probably.
Yeah, so don't even tell me. It's fine.
Yeah.
But 21 days out in California recording an album just sounds so fucking sick. But this was, so how long ago was this then?
This was last December.
Like not this past December,
one,
that just happened,
before,
but
right?
the
So,
2023.
It's like over a year ago.
Okay, and then the album just releases now. So we were talking like before, like how sometimes like with the EP, like you've heard the songs over and over, and like this one like didn't happen. But
we've been listening to these songs for like the past.
Yeah, I never.
that's over a year.
Yeah,
of
I
having
never-
to, like wait to put this out.
Yeah.
How's that been? That sounds awful.
It has been, but like it was worth it. We had time to plan things, and like we had a lot of shows in the fall. Like and we were also kind of all over the place. Like personally,
Oh, okay.
like I had just started college, and I was super busy with that as well. But I don't know. I'm glad we did release it when we did, because we definitely have a lot more time now to promote it. And stuff like that.
Yeah, because this thing just came out in last month, right? So February.
Yeah.
February. So it's only been out a month. How are you guys with like rollouts? Like, you guys have stuff planned out for like, okay, like the album drop. Now what are we doing to like push it? I know you were saying social media, but is there anything like specific that you have planned?
Not us. I guess that's a question for Blaze and Trent.
Okay.
Yeah.
Especially Blaze. He's like
He's more of like
our
the
marketing
manager
guy.
Yeah.
kind of like marketing
Yeah.
kind of guy. He's going to college for like marketing and all that.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Okay.
and he told us like a month ago or so that his professor was actually like one of the head marketing directors at Atlantic Records, like before she was like a professor.
What the fuck?
Yeah.
I missed that one.
Oh, he didn't
I didn't
tell you
hear him
that?
say that. No.
Oh,
that's crazy.
I thought he told you that.
That's
no,
cool.
yeah,
Damn, yeah, that's the hookup right there.
yeah, for sure.
Just slip a button. It's like, hey, like
Yeah.
this is my assignment. By the way,
Yeah.
attached is
You want to mention our band?
yeah, attach it to all your like homework
Yeah.
assignments you turn.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, what's this extra folder in here all the time? It's just his album. You know what I mean? Just, oh, what is that? That's super cool. So, how many of you on the band then are juggling like school and like the band right now?
So I just dropped out of college to pursue music full time. So right now it's just Blaze going to school, going to college right now.
How was that
Trent-
decision?
Huh?
How was that decision? Like,
It was scary, but like it was also hard being in college and trying to balance all those things. Like I knew what I wanted to do for a living, and I know that, and I know that the degree that I was there to get wasn't going to help, and like it might have, but it wasn't the route that I wanted to take, and ultimately I have a lot more time now to like focus on those things. Like I've been teaching lessons, like bass lessons as well. I've been like doing session work on other songs, like for other musicians.
okay,
And I don't know, but I'm really glad I have the time now to like practice and also like work. I can make money rather than going to debt, you know, getting a jazz degree that I might not need for.
oh, is that where you were going to get a jazz?
Yeah. So, well, there's a few different degrees I was thinking about,
Okay.
like routes, but I don't know. It was also like a pressure, like being in college and trying to balance those things. Like it wasn't easy. And
Yeah, I mean it's definitely going to be hard balancing all that stuff when there's each one of those like endeavors takes you whole assing it. Like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like if you're gonna want to do any one of those things, like it's gonna I'm gonna eventually have to really like focus on this one, and one of them's gonna suffer, like no matter
Yeah,
what. You know
yeah.
what I mean? Whichever one you're like dedicating to. So yeah, I've heard like people when I'm always interested because like I've had like people on where it's like, oh yeah, you know, I quit my job and now I'm doing this, and I'm like, shit, that's the, you know, there's like that's a big move. Like okay,
Yeah.
like now this depends on it, but sometimes that's the fucking fire that you need. Okay, like so now you're like, okay, this is it. Now
Yeah.
yeah,
you
now I'm
know.
not waiting for years to
Exactly.
try to make a living out of what I do. I'm just doing it. You know?
And like you were saying, one thing you brought up, and I love that this is like the common, I guess, just like atmosphere where, and that if you want to learn something, it's all fucking out there, like
Yeah.
online.
Yeah.
YouTube is like the YouTube University is like where everyone's learning how to do fucking whatever they want.
Yeah, I think this goes for both of us. Like we're both very like self-taught on our instrument. Like I've had like lessons. I took lessons for like the first year or two of playing bass, but then I was self-taught and like progressed a lot on my own. Like I picked up lessons again recently, but I don't know.
Yeah, there's a lot that if you want to do it, like that you can learn it. Like there, and then there is like, that's definitely not discrediting taking lessons and shit like that, obviously. But like, if you again don't have the time, can't like you know pay for these things, you know, like it's there's all like these hurdles that some people like have, and if you know if those are in the way, then like okay, how do I do this like myself, or how do I figure out how to do it? And I think that's what separates like you from like the people that kind of just say they want to do stuff, and it always takes like okay, like if you had to, could you do this on your own? Like, are you gonna go seek this out? And you know, if the answer is no, then like ideas stop there, because I feel like I used to be this person all the time where I'm like, oh, like, you know, I have this idea of doing this. And then, like, I would say it, and when somebody would be like, that's a cool idea, you should do that, I'd be like, nah, never mind. Like, you know, I wouldn't seek it out. So it took years, and then I found out, like, certain stuff, like, before I would speak it or I want to do something, I was like, I'm just going to fucking do it. And if I see if I actually, like, want to do this and keep doing it, and then a lot of stuff is just like, well, who's something that you can get done that nobody's telling you to do, no one's forcing you to do, and you're seeking it out, you know, then that's what you're interested in. That's what you're passionate about. You should keep fucking like pursuing that. But yeah, I think nowadays you can do that all like on your own and by yourself, and it's really fucking sick that's like the opportunities that everybody kind of has now. Like they can make them for themselves. Okay, so the band records the album. It's out. Like I know there's a bunch of plans for it. But somebody else, you get stolen away. So everybody in the band, as soon as you get stolen away, is original members from then?
Yeah.
Okay, so there's, what year is that?
That was whenever we started.
Yeah.
That was, I remember it was November of 2022. I only remember that so much because my brother, he's in the Navy. And the first time he like came back in a while was like that week that we had our first practice.
Oh, really?
So it's kind of like a really good memory I had.
Did you guys know each other beforehand?
All right, so I knew Blaze.
Okay.
Whenever, because his dad knew my dad in like the 90s and stuff, and his dad was my dad's best man for his wedding.
What? Okay.
Yeah.
That's fucking sick.
So I knew Blaze since I was like really little. I'd like seen him here and there every once in a while. But it wasn't until like I was like in high school, and I went to a different high school than all of them, and I was like, I graduated a few years before them. So,
like 1 year.
Wait, no, I graduated in 2021.
Oh, okay. My
bad. No, you're kidding.
You're not that old.
Come on.
I feel like, dude, whenever we first started, I was the only one that was 18. Yeah. And they were all in high school and stuff. So I felt like, oh, yeah.
I remember hearing this.
I was like, oh, this is kind of cool, I guess. Yeah. No, but so what was I talking about?
You knew Blaze.
Oh yeah, so I knew Blaze, and then he was in like a band with his dad in like some metal band. So my dad was like, "Hey, Blaze's dad and Blaze are like having a show. You want to go with me?" I was like, "Yeah, sure." Yeah. And so I went, and then I was like, "Whoa, this is actually kind of sick. Like, it'd be really cool to like be in a band and all that." And then I was like, I would like ask him every time I went to their shows, like, "Hey, if y'all need a drummer or anything, I'm down to like play with y'all." And then so they came to my house one time, and I did like a little audition thing, but it didn't really go anywhere. And then fast forward to like the summer after I graduated, I was like looking for a band and stuff, because this was whenever I was like, man, I want to be in a band. Like, this is what I want to do. This is like what I have a passion for and everything. And so I hit up Blaze on Instagram. I was like, hey, like, I haven't talked to you in a few years, but like, if you want to like make a band, or like any bands that like need drummers or anything, like, I'm down to play. Yeah. And he's like, okay, me and one of my friends have been trying to make a project, which happened to be Trent, but I just didn't know him.
Okay.
And I was like, oh, okay, that's sick. Like, when do y'all want to like practice or anything? And he was like, I don't know, like, let me talk to him and see whenever he comes back, because he's living in Arkansas right now. And I was like, oh, okay, yeah, just let me know. Yeah. Then a few months go by, we don't like talk at all. And then I just hit him up again one day, and I was like, hey,
I'll make this happen.
Yeah. Dude, I was so adamant about being in a band. I was like, this needs to happen. So I hit him up again, and he was like, yeah, my buddy's back. We can do like November if you're down for that. I was like, yeah, I'm cool with that. And then so they came over and everything, and then the first song we ever practiced was Breathe.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Okay.
that was the first thing we ever practiced, and I
First
think
thing we like wrote together.
yeah,
kinda.
that was like the first thing we wrote. So we wrote it, or they had the lyrics and like melody and everything. So by the time they came over to my house to practice, I heard it for the first time and I put drums to it like then and there.
Right there, that first practice.
Yeah, like in like 2 tries.
Yeah,
Damn.
I think we got like a little voice memo demo that day.
Yeah.
I don't have it, but
Somewhere in
It's
the
gotta be
files.
somewhere.
but
Yeah.
yeah,
That'd be
it
so fucking
happened,
sick to hear that.
Yeah.
Damn. Okay. So you've like were drumming for like a little bit before?
Yeah, I've
Like,
been
did you
playing
grow up
drums since I was like 4.
Okay.
So I grew up drumming and everything.
Ah, okay,
Yeah.
cool. I was like, okay. I didn't know if you like picked it up because you wanted to be in a band, but
Oh, no.
damn. So you've been drumming for a long time.
Yeah.
It's crazy that you couldn't find a band. Usually, like drummers are the ones that are like in 5 bands because everybody needs a.
Well,
drummer.
I mean,
or you just like being selective too, like what you want.
not really. It was more of like I just didn't really know people who played instruments or anything, and I wasn't like really like aware of like there was a scene in Texas or anything like that. So all of this was like really new. Whenever I met Blaze and them, like they showed me all this stuff. They're like, "Yo, you should start listening to hardcore music. You should start listening to all this type of
Yeah.
music and stuff."
So that's actually okay. So that's interesting. That's something like I'm kind of interested. So what was your initial impression of like this? You're saying someone who comes in like
Yeah.
I didn't know there was like a scene around here. You know
Yeah.
what I mean, how was your introduction into it? Like, what did you like feel? What did you think about it?
I thought it was really sick because I was like, "Oh wow, this has been like in front of me this whole time, and I didn't know any of these like people were here or anything, or all these people were playing music around me." And I was like,
it's an interesting experience, and I hope, which is one of the reasons like why we started like, you know, NoiseROT and everything with that is because there's these stories where I'm like, oh, I didn't
Yeah.
know there was a scene around here, and I remember again like I came into it like super late, but I remember being like the same thing. I was like,
Yeah.
oh, like there's a shit ton of like bands like playing like shows every like fucking like week, and at that time it was like shows like all the time during the week and shit, and I was like, this is just happening. Like these people are just like doing this thing. Like, and at that time, again, I didn't know how to relate to like a band that like I was like, oh, you can just get a group of your friends
Yeah.
and start playing music. Like I had a band in high school, but we like we didn't know what the scene was. We didn't know how to book shows or whatever. We literally like I think that the door an old venue used to be in Fort Worth. There was one version in Fort Worth. And I remember we just were like emailing the venue to book a show because like it's just super old, but they would post their schedules and they would just have like blank slots, and then I'd be like, hey, you have blank slot here, can I play? And they're like, sure. And I was like, okay. So that's like the way it was getting. But I didn't. Again, like I had just started to like meet. Okay, there's another band that's playing. Let's become friends with them. But never in like did I ever imagine like there was this giant network of people, and then bands playing and the amount of like bands playing, but also the amount of like good bands like playing, like where I was just like, oh shit, like to like now one of my like favorite things is like some of like bands that are again local to me are like some of like my favorite bands, and I'm like that's fucking cool. You know what I mean? Getting to see bands from the jump, like the startup, like people talk about it all the time. Like I was like, oh, you know, I used to follow these people, or like they
Before
don't
they were
want to.
famous.
Yeah, before they were
yeah.
famous. Like that was like a big the hipster like movement or whatever. It's not a fucking movement. It's just fucking douchebags. But yeah, like I see that, and that seemed like really special. But again, it was to me, it was always like, oh, okay, you saw. You know, you heard an artist when they dropped like their first album or something like that. But like being able to see it before like these albums come out, like, oh, what were they doing beforehand? They were playing these like smaller shows, like intimate shows, and it's my I don't know, the feeling and my appreciation for the like an intimate show of like being able to see like these bands play in like these small cap rooms, to seeing them like play like these, because there's a venue across the street, or used to be, is a venue called Tomcats West, and I remember this venue, I don't know what the capacity was in it, but it was maybe like 300 people, maybe. And I remember seeing like Dance Gavin Dance there, and like Polyphia, and like I was just like and I remember the line being, I was like, this is crazy, like, and seeing like those, I'm like, okay, that's never going to happen again. Like I just had a realization like with like Sleep Token. I think the earliest I ever saw Sleep Token was at House of Blues, but like they opened for Issues, you know, like it's like old ass show, and now like I saw them like their stadium tour, and I'm like, I'm probably never gonna see them like again.
Yeah,
you know?
that's crazy.
But still cool. Like, and it just rooted that idea inside of me. I was like, oh, we should just be like appreciating like these bands now, like because you don't know what the fuck is gonna, like what the trajectory is gonna be, and it's just real special to like see some of those shows like up close and personal. Where you said you played in a band before? Did you already have like some familiarity with that, like with?
So no, we never really played in the scene either. Like we were trying to get shows, but like we were never that serious. Like we recorded an EP in the studio, like in a recording studio, but it never went anywhere. We never really played shows anywhere besides our backyard, but it was still like cool playing for our friends in middle school, I guess. And like it was cool getting that experience and like getting to be in the studio that early on. Yeah.
It's a good experience. I mean, I feel like you with most bands probably went like the opposite, where you had like studio experience before you had like show experience.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times I see it go the other way, where like, oh, we're playing shows for a bit, and then like you're going in to record, and there is like there's an etiquette. There's okay, what should I have prepared to go into recording? Because I know like my first time going in, I was like, I don't fucking know what I'm doing. Like, I think we had a friend who was taking classes at like one of the big like music schools. I think it was somewhere out in Dallas, I think. And he's like, I have this huge studio that they're letting me like mess with. So we're in there and we're just like, I don't know what to do. But I'm just freaking out because like the mic that I'm using to track vocals, like I'm sitting there and then I forgot who comes in. He's like, hey, well, you're in there. Wiggle your toes in your shoes. And I'm just like, what the fuck? And I'm just like, okay. Like I'm in there and I like start moving my toes and I can hear them like in my monitors, because it's like, oh yeah, that, I forgot how fucking expensive that mic was and shit. I'm just like, that's fucking crazy. But it was like this giant room, like it was a crazy first studio experience, completely wasted because we're garbage. Like we did not know like how to prepare, like how tight this like the music had to be. Like it was just like, oh, we wrote it, we know how to play it, but it wasn't like it's close to perfect, at least like on our timing and shit like that. It was just like super sloppy or whatever. But again, those are things like I didn't know before going in there. And that one was like very lax. But then like our next studio like experience, you have to learn a little, okay, what should I have prepared? So now we're like, again, you're coming into like to studio, especially like something a little bit more high stakes where you're like traveling for this time, you know? Yeah. I mean, like, okay, like most of the stuff could be done, but like, and then we know what we have to work in the studio. But I mean, 3 weeks to, work out the ideas that you have, plus like how many were written in studio?
I know Killing Time for sure, because me and Blaze, we sat down in JoJo's studio and like put that out in like 15-20 minutes.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like I just kind of had like a drum idea. I was like, oh, this would be really cool to play the like really fast punk beat. And then he was like, oh, I probably got like a riff I can put over that. And then we just kind of like jammed it out really quick.
I always once I had my few studio experiences, that was one of the things that always baffled me. Like bands or artists going into studio and it's like, yeah, we're writing a record in here. Yeah. I'm just like, and I to me at the time it again, I didn't know everything, so it was just like, oh, I thought you were coming in blank slate and they're like, okay, let's write a whole album. But I'm like, oh, okay, that means you have like a bunch of like ideas like that you can work out. And then again, like that's before learning all these things. Cause like working with a producer the first time that I did that, I was super like against it. I felt very defensive because I'm like, oh, what if we change this here? And I'm like, no, it's like, just hit record. And then like I look back and I'm just like, damn, like some of those ideas probably would have been really cool. You know what I mean? But I was again like, and learning that, like learning how to find the people you want to collaborate with, like who are we writing songs with? Because I mean, some of the like my favorite tracks like were like this giant collaborative effort where you're just like, and it's not even like giant, but like someone just has an idea. It's like, what if you took that out? And it's like that's already like a collaborator. But like little things like these like make big differences like in the long run. Yeah. But I mean, yeah, you guys, the trajectory that you had, definitely like skyrockets. I don't know, because like was the first. So who connects you into the scene? Like first, is it? I know I first heard from you guys of you guys from like Jesse and Daisy over at DIE, but I don't know if that's like your first introduction into like the scene.
I'm really not sure.
I think Daisy was the first person that we met. Maybe. Okay. I think it was Blaze reached out to Daisy or something to start getting us shows. Because I remember we started playing Killer's Tacos. Okay. I know Daisy would be the person that books all that stuff for a Die.
How, this is me just wondering, like for new bands, I'm always trying to figure out like how to reach out to like bands? Like how do you find like how to make it easier for bands to reach out, and like what if you want to play a show? Because I know it is very like intimidating at the beginning. And then sometimes like we'll find like this band's like, oh yeah, we've had bands like where it's like, oh, we've just been playing like for our friends like this time, and then they find, you know, one of us. Luckily, there's a bunch of us doing like promotion now. I'm so fucking like grateful for that, because there's more bands finding somebody that's gonna put them on shows, you know, because it's other than that, like you're staring at it like at a blank slate and being like, oh, I don't know how to play there, or again, even though it exists, but. That's definitely one of our goals, is trying to make that as easy as possible. So you started playing in 2 other projects?
Yes. Well, I play in about 3 other projects.
3? Okay.
Right now. Yeah. So my brother, he plays guitar and like he writes his own music. That's the Unqualified. So I've been playing in that, and I just recorded a single for that, so we're gonna have that like be announced and dropping pretty soon. So you'll hear about that soon. But
let me know if I need to bleep that out.
No, you're all good. Depends when this video is getting released. No, I'm just kidding. We should probably be good, but I'll double check.
He's like, you know what? let me check.
Let me ask quick.
Yeah, but Said the People, we just recorded a record. I just joined their band after their bassist, Rich. He quit to join another band called Sixth Sense.
Okay.
And they're like doing a like US tour at the time. So he played South by Southwest with them, and then I joined their band and like started playing for them, because he originally, their bassist, asked me to cover for him for one of their shows.
Oh, okay.
They're playing 2 shows out in Austin, and he couldn't make it because the other band was flying him out to play with them. So that's like when I
was wondering how the connection like was made. I was like, how did because I saw you pop up in Said the People, and I was like, wait, how does jump happen? Like who met who? And I've been saving it. Like I haven't seen it yet, but I saw clips of like you in the video. But I've been saving. Like I want to do like maybe like a reaction or something to it. So it's been hard because I saw like a few of the things. I'm like, this video looks fucking wild. Like,
it's pretty crazy.
It looks pretty fun. So the whole record's done.
Yeah, so we recorded that with David Southern
nice.
Pretty recently, and then that's dropping here pretty soon. We just dropped a single called Black Cadillac, and then the like last project I'm a part of, it's like that friend from childhood that I used to be in a band with.
Oh yeah.
His name's Brendan Tippett, and his artist name's like Brendan Alexander Tippett. Okay. But he does folk music and stuff like that, and our drummer is also someone we've known since childhood, and like we've been playing together since like 5th grade. Like
okay, so now you actually get to write some stuff together.
Yeah, but we have a single coming out on the 30th of this month for that.
Damn. Okay.
So yeah,
man, that's
got a lot of music coming out soon. Yeah,
that's a lot. Man, you're juggling quite a bit. Are you only in?
I'm only in this like right now, but I'm about to join Alex Frederick, which is another like folk poppy artist, but she's gonna go by like Martha Steele.
Okay.
But her music's pretty cool. So
nice.
Yeah.
Damn. When you, I'm not gonna say side projects because who knows which one. But like when you have like, let's say you're in a band and you create like other projects, what is your? I'm trying to phrase this the right way. Do you feel like it's because you just want to play music and you want to find as much as you can do it?
If anything, we encourage each other to like do whatever. Like we're completely cool with it.
I think it has helped. Like playing with Said the People, it's given us like a temporary practice space. Like we'd have to like have last minute rehearsals with somebody else so we could like use their space. And like we've learned things from their band. Like they've been in a band a lot longer than us. And like we can like now pick up on things that they do and like bring it to like the other projects and just help all around.
That's cool. That's cool that's the environment again that you guys create for each other is to do whatever like projects you want to. And again, like I think it just ends up helping the band a lot more because you take not only like knowledge from like the members and stuff that they know, but also just like musical influences and like, oh, how do we throw this into somebody else? You know what I mean? Like, how do we do it? Especially coming from like, again, like you're saying, like a group of people who already have like different like music tastes and stuff like that. How different does the music like taste get like between like band members?
So I grew up like listening to like 90s 2000s like alternative and grunge and stuff. I get a lot of my music taste from my parents.
Okay.
So like the first concert I ever went to whenever I was 6 was actually Incubus.
Really?
Yeah,
okay.
They took me to go see Incubus. Dude, that's
like, badass.
Yeah. Dude, I was like, man, I don't know what was up with me, but apparently my parents told me that I slept like halfway through the concert.
Damn. Fake fan, dude. Fall asleep.
No, but I mean, for right now, like my favorite band is Blink-182, mostly because like Travis Barker is my favorite drummer.
Okay.
So I don't know. I mostly take influence a lot by like drummers instead of like bands.
Okay.
So
interesting. Since you've been drumming like for pretty much like your entire life, or the biggest part of it. Yeah. When you listen to music, is that the first thing you listen to?
Yeah, I'll mostly catch myself, like, if I listen to a song that I don't even know, I'll just, like, start tapping to it and everything, and mostly listen to the drums and stuff and be like, oh, that's, like, a cool drum part. I got to go learn that.
I like hearing that, like, because I know the way I listen to music, and I listen to music the fucking basic way everybody, like, does, and I always go vocal first, and I'm just like, okay, that's the part that I understand, and my working theory is just like that most people, even if they're bad at it, can sing. So they can relate to like hearing a voice or whatever and words and stuff like that. But like as I've like being in a band and like, you know, working with like guitar players and stuff like that, now like I can find myself picking up like on others and be like, oh shit, like I'm really liking like, oh, I really like this song, but it's really just like the drum and bass thing. Like it's really just the rhythm like section that like I'm paying attention to. And I found myself like completely 180 from I listen to just vocals and lyrics. I used to like dig into lyrics all the time. And now I find myself like, I barely know the lyrics of any of my favorite songs. Like songs that I'll be like, yes, I fucking love this song. What is it about? I don't fucking like, but I like the way it sounds. Like even that, like I'll catch myself at concerts like singing, but I was like, not know a single word. I was like, I know the fucking melody though, and I know the rhythm of shit. He's like, and I know how that goes. But that also like leads you to like, oh, there's other ways to write songs. You can write songs for fucking like, what do you want? You know, what do you want the crowd to do? Like when you're playing live, like do you want them to, like to march, to move? You know, what do you want? You know, it to sound like out there. What do you want people? Do you want people to be able to sing along, or you know, what do you want them to follow on to? Which is cool with music taste that you can experience. I mean, you can dip into whatever like style and genre that you want. And then with somebody else, I think you guys do a really good job of bringing that back and kind of tying that together. Like I said, like all like the influences that I knew of at the time and hearing them come out like in the record was definitely very satisfying to me to be like, oh, they made this shit work. And like, and it works. Like it works really well. For the next, I mean, you just released a record, and, but for like where you think the band's going next, what do you think is changing as far as like writing style, or like is there anything specific you're wanting to do after this project?
Honestly, I think it's a little too early to tell. At least for me personally, but like the writing of this last like album came along really naturally. Like we didn't really think or like talk that much about. I mean, like we talked about what we wanted to sound like, but like it wasn't all like, what's it called? I don't want to say intentional, because like the things we were doing were intentional, but it came across naturally, you know. Okay.
No, that I think that makes sense, especially like to anybody who's like written music. If you've never have, like there's these like moments where like stuff just feels easy. So it feels like you're not thinking like, but it's this like, just like moment, this like vibe you have, this relationship you have with the people you're writing with, but it just feels like, oh, like again, you writing drums within the first like 15 minutes of like your first practice together. Like there's something that just makes sense. It's like, this is easy. Like this is fine. That are, again, it comes down to that band chemistry. How much do we already understand each other? That's why like again, the trip to California, those 21 days, like just makes that stronger and easier. And
Yeah.
like, oh, I know what you're saying, like easy. Or, you know, people talk about like musician talk all the time. We're like, what if you do this? And then like, I mean, I remember trying to describe like guitars and like drum patterns to people and like, oh, okay, something like this. I'm like, yes, that's exactly it. And it sounded nothing like what I was doing. But again, the relationship is there and we understand each other. But yeah, I think that's a great way to kind of keep the writing style. Is like make it feel like it's easy, even though, and make it feel like, oh, we're not thinking about it. But yeah, like all the stuff is like intentional, and then you get like the, you know, happy little accidents, and we're just like, oh, that's where that come from. Well, who cares? Like let's just run with it, use it. Yeah, that's really fucking sick. I'm just, again, like I'm very like excited about what the band's doing. The record, I just know if it hasn't like reached as many people as it needs to yet, like it will. And I know you just have to like keep promoting it. Like that's the game like these days, man. Like, I mean, you've been on your social media stuff like pretty heavy. But yeah, that social media push is really interesting. Yeah. And it's kind of tough. I always end up asking everybody.
Learning. Huh? It's something we're still learning, trying to get better at. Because I know it's something like none of us are particularly good at, but like, we're trying to find like our own content that we actually like making, and something that's like original and different from what like everyone else is doing.
Which is kind of hard because there's so many people fucking making
very
shit. Yeah,
saturated.
Yeah. I mean, it's the good and bad with the access to like, again, the technology and people being able to find out how to do everything. So being able to take whatever tools you have and find like an original thing to do for yourself, or not even like original, but something that's like authentic to like who you are, who the band is. You know what I mean? Because like it's just really difficult to like. It's really difficult, and it's really easy to be like, well, what did they do? Let's just do that. Yeah. And then you realize like, oh, it just doesn't feel like us, or it doesn't feel like nice. Like I mean, everybody who does, like, I remember like people overuse the shit out of everyone was like playing a song like, oh, did I just write the song of the summer? It's like, no.
I remember that.
But I remember like hearing like every fucking person do it. Yeah. And I'm just like, this fucking sucks. Like, to the point where like I heard like, did I just swipe? I'm listening to this.
Yeah, it's the same as it makes you feel the same as everyone else.
It's empty. It's empty. It's an empty like concept that you're doing. It's like, oh, you saw someone do it and you're copying it. Like exactly. Yeah. I'm like, add something in there that's you. But that's the tough thing to navigate. It's like, oh, well, trends do better, like because or whatever. Like other people are already looking for that sort of content, but it's also battling. How do we battle that with like being authentic? And then, again, like it's just this added thing into music now that is still relatively new, I guess. I mean, people have been doing it for a while. Some people are really good at it, but I think it is a tough thing, depending on where you like came up with in music, to have to like now
content create really
and incorporate it into like the band. I mean, you don't have to. I mean, you definitely don't have to. But it helps.
It does help a lot.
Yeah. There's certain stuff. I bring up Set Adrift all the time because Trey started doing fit checks on his TikTok. If you go look for Set Adrift, if you look up Set Adrift, all he does, he plays the band song, steps back, shows off with his outfit. Fucking people have been like, oh, this song's really fucking good. Like it worked. Like, and every one of them like gets people commented to the point where like they are plotting their tour route now because like so many people outside of the state have like, oh, like they've made connections that way. Yeah. And I'm like, who would have guessed that's the thing that works? You know what I mean? It's something as simple as that. When sometimes like I'll focus on like, is this like as high quality as I can put something out, and I work at it and like no one fucking watches it. I'm like, all right. So definitely getting over the fact of like, I need to not worry about like how this is going to do and just do it. Like, it's like, that's the only thing I can guarantee myself to do is just to put out stuff. Yeah. I go, I'm not going to try to figure out the algorithm or whatnot. Yeah. But yeah, anything you guys are like excited for or like feel like you're talking about with this band?
Always excited for playing shows.
Yeah,
I love playing shows. It's like my favorite thing.
That's something you guys are gonna hit a little harder. Like,
definitely.
Yeah. I still need to see. I missed the last one I played, and I'm like, I want to see these songs. Yeah, like live. So yeah, hopefully I'll play some more. But man, anything else you guys want have to say? Shout out the album.
Shout out JoJo, amazing producer.
Shout out to JoJo.
Shout
Shout
out
out to Harrison for
drums.
yeah
Drum recording.
Yep, beast on the engineering. And then Chris Crummett for mastering the album. You did a great job on the final touches.
How
Yeah.
the fuck did I miss this out of everything? That's fucking nuts.
Yeah.
Okay.
But,
That guy's great too. Yeah, fuck it. Thank you guys for coming by. I definitely appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you
for having us.
Yeah, absolutely. Anytime. Like again, like I'll keep updating this shit. You know, eventually we'll get a space big enough and we'll have everybody on here, man.
Oh yeah.
Although the space is big, I feel like I can do it here, but I feel like that'd be crazy. But yeah, thank you guys for stopping by. If you ever need help promoting any fucking thing, just let us know. And like,
for sure,
we're here to help. But yeah, thank you guys for stopping by. This has been episode 136 with somebody else, not to be confused with somebody else. There's somebody else.
Not the 1975.
Yeah. Thank you guys for listening. Thank you guys for watching. We'll see you next time.